good unwinders, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to the channel, my name is Itloba Balo, but if you want to be part of the unwinding gang, hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button down below. So today we are gonna be unwinding a very interesting topic. So today we're gonna be talking about toxic relationship. Nobody wants to find themselves in a toxic relationship. We know that. And sometimes we know that we're in a toxic relationship. Sometimes we don't know that we're in a toxic relationship. We just find ourselves in that situation. And sometimes we see it, but we don't leave. Or like we just don't see it. We just don't see it, and then people will be telling you and you'll be like ignoring them. It's a thing, it happens, but all in all, I believe that nobody deserves to be in a toxic relationship, and you also don't have to be a toxic person to another person, because that thing can mess you up. It can mess with your mental health, it can mess with your confidence, it can mess with a whole lot of things. So first thing, I'm gonna read a definition out from that I found on the net, and then I would go on to reading other people's definitions and how I see it. So firstly, I'm gonna read a definition from the net. This is what I found when I googled it. It says that any relationship between people who don't support each other, where there's conflict and one seeks to undermine the other, and where there's competition, things like that, and also are examples of things that could be going on in toxic relationship: or lack of support, toxic communication, jealousy, controlling behavior, dishonesty, patterns of disrespect, and so on. Also here says negative financial behavior. I guess I guess this one makes sense, because another person had a definition, and it involved finances, and I was like, what? And now that they are mentioning it here, I'm like, okay, that could be a factor actually when you think of it. So I'm gonna go right ahead and read people's definitions. Then I'll give you mine at the end. But what I've realized is that every single person has their own definition of toxic relationships. It all depends on the type of relationship you have with people, and the things that you can take, I guess. Because some can go to an extent of taking more of nonsense before they could be what, this thing, it ain't my thing. So someone said a toxic relationship is a connection between two or more people, but has a factor that destroys one or both of them silently. It might be mentally, emotionally, financially, physically, you see. So this is a person's definition. So I absolutely agree with this. It could be between two or more people, it could be a group of people, let's say a group of friends, and in that group of friends, people are constantly messing with your emotions, your mental health, and it's affecting you in so many ways. And also this person also included financially, so I guess it does have a factor when it affects you financially. I'm kind of trying to think of how it actually does affect a person financially, but if you know how it actually does, comment down below how a toxic relationship can affect you. But then I think it does. Maybe for instance, comment down below what you think, how you could define a toxic relationship as affecting your finances. Maybe when people are constantly asking for your money, maybe they think that you have more money and they just after your money. Or maybe let's say in a romantic relationship and you're constantly asking for money from the guy or the girl. Could be both ways, remember, and constantly asking and constantly receiving and not giving, and maybe borrowing money and not bringing it back, kind of thing. Could be the factors. So yeah, comment down below. Another one says a toxic relationship, one side. If I'm the only one making effort, the only one loving, and only one keeping us together, basically the only one doing anything, everything is a toxic relationship according to this person. So I feel the person, and I definitely agree with them. Just imagine you're the only one, like all the time. You're the only one making effort, you're the only one apologizing, you're the only one paying the bills, you're the only one who's working like overtime, and the other person is not giving the same responses. So I definitely believe, I definitely support this person. So yeah, what do you think? Another one says being gaslighted every time you bring matters forward. And also broke partners are also toxic. And then I asked this person, so do you mean broke in terms of not having money? And then she says, yeah. And then again, I guess it is, like broke people can be toxic, I guess, according to this person. But then when you look at it deeply, you'd find that actually, you know what? Yeah, broke people can be toxic in a way, because maybe if they're broke and I'm trying to like put in scenarios right now. So if maybe the other person is broke and the other person has money, and you have certain standards and needs, you want to do certain things and the person can't, and now it's like, you're the one who always has to pay and stuff. So other people just don't want to be with broke people. It's a preference, and also being gaslighted every time you bring matters forward. Important, very important. Imagine every time you bring a matter forward, something important, and the person is like, so it's very important. You must be heard every time you bring in like important, when you bring up certain matters, the person must just hear you, Another one, being with someone you've lost respect for, who acts as if you are the last man leaving. They can't leave without you. You can't exactly break up with them because you know it will break them, and you beg to stay, but they'll beg you to stay, and the more they do that, the more you find them unattractive. Deep down, you know that they're not good enough for you, but you feel like you owe them for loving you this much. It's just a mess, Jay. I would not love to find myself in ever again. So I'm guessing this person's been through this because they think they never want to find themselves going through this again. So according to me, this is different from any other definition that I got. So I'm getting that this person says being with someone only because they love you, not because you also love them as much, but anymore, but then only because they loved you at a point in time and you can't leave them. So when you're in relationships, I feel like the person B was in a relationship, or means that being in a relationship with someone where you can't leave, even if you wanted to leave, you can't leave because the person is constantly like begging you to stay, and the more they do that, the more you find it unattractive, but then you still can't leave. So you are with a person that you definitely like, you honestly don't like, and that is not okay. So it can be toxic to you because now you are in a messed up situation and you're trying to jabulisa the other person. Definitely agree with this person, because it happens, it happens that you find yourself in a relationship with a person, and sometimes some you don't feel the same way. It's okay it's okay for your feelings to change. It's okay for you to lose interest in a person based on certain things, and it's okay for you to leave, because if you force yourself to be in that relationship or situation, honey, you are just gonna mess with you big time. So yeah, another one, when one partner constantly uses emotional blackmail whenever there is a mini argument, or when he or she wants something of their own interest, constantly quarreling. 1 minute you're happy, the next you're fighting, unable to resolve issues in a more mature manner. Definitely agree with this person. I mean, imagine being blackmailed whenever you bring in something, whenever there's a mini argument. So you can't talk about something because you did other things that seem like way worse than what you guys are arguing about. I mean, it doesn't matter what you did in the past before or what the person has against you, but an argument is an argument. I mean, you have the right to bring up something, even if you did something worse in the past. It doesn't mean now that you've done something worse in the past, now you can't even talk anymore. Like, you can't even voice out your concerns or like things that you feel like you should raise up. So it's all toxic in that way. Being blackmailed, nah. And then constantly quarreling and not being able to resolve, in a mature manner. This person said constantly fighting and this makes you happy, and then okay, quarreling and fighting is not a problem, but then if you're constantly doing it and it's like your thing, you guys are constantly like at it all the time, nah, that it doesn't cut it. Another one, I think toxic relationships is more like being in a relationship with someone who does not care about you or the relationship, or we can call it a forced relationship. Once again, it goes back to the other person who says you've been with the person because you can't leave them and what. So you are constantly forcing. It's either you are forcing yourself or someone else is forcing you. Maybe certain homes or certain religions or certain family, like tribes, whatever, they might force you to be with someone, but I mean, we are at like a time and age where those things are not practiced anymore, or as much, because I feel like maybe there are some churches which would choose someone for you to be with, and you're forced to be in a relationship. But then sometimes you also force yourself in some situations to be with a certain person because you're holding on to something, or the person is just pointing a gun at you and saying, you know what, you can't go, you can't leave. So could be toxic to you. Definitely can be toxic to you. This definitions caucus, I feel like, this definition is actually cut short, and I can't go and check it right now because it was on Facebook and I just screenshotted it and put it here. But I think maybe I can try and finish it. It says not being able to talk to your partner when things go wrong, because I mean, it could be because because you're afraid, you guys, you're afraid of you have fear that you guys will fight and you don't want to fight anymore, things like that. A relationship where we quarrel about anything, that's toxic. That's another definition. one where you guys can't talk about issues or don't know how to handle fights. There are relationships where you honestly can't talk about issues. Reason could be fear of raising your, like raising up an issue, or like being afraid how the next person is going to react. There's so many reasons why you guys can talk about certain issues, but I believe that it's toxic, and for it not to be toxic, you guys must be able to talk about whatever, and like the smallest, silliest thing. If you're angry about something, you gotta be able to voice it out. If you can't, then it's not a good relationship. So guys, those are all the definitions that I have received from people. Thank you so much to everyone who sent through their definitions. If you have other definitions, or if you relate to any of the definitions, please leave a comment down below. Let's talk. What is your definition of a toxic relationship? But before we close it off, this is what I think of the whole thing. I totally agree with every definition here. I totally do. And I feel like a toxic relationship is one which will affect you. If it affects you in any way possible, then it is not a good relationship for you. It is definitely toxic. Something that's toxic is something that's poisonous, something that's not good for you at all. So at all costs, avoid being in such relationships. So my thing is, I've learned that people have different definitions. It all depends on what you are going through, and as I said in the beginning, and how to deal with this is talk about it. Try talking about it. Try bringing, even if you're afraid, bring those conversation, bring it down and say, you know what, this is what's happening. I feel like this is not working. I feel like this is not good for me because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and try and resolve it. But then if you can't resolve it even after speaking, or if you can't even voice it out, then it's toxic. Then you should leave even without saying. Pack your bags and leave, even without explaining a lot, because girl, boy, this is your life. So that's how I think it should be solved, by talking. You can start by talking to other people about it, and if they tell you, oh, that's not good for you, it's a toxic relationship, go to that partner or partners, because it could be a group of people. Tell them how you feel. If you still can't resolve it, leave. Some relationships could be very toxic in a way that it leaves you scarred, and you kind of like need help beyond talking to a friend. Go to counseling. Therapy, whatever is advisable if you can't deal with certain issues. So I would strongly advise that you do that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed, guys, subscribing is free. I know I've heard some people think it might come with a cost, or they have to pay somehow. You don't have to pay. I know it's a subscribe button. It's written subscribe, and subscribe usually is associated with paying. I've heard it, honestly. People ask me, so do I have to pay? No, you're not gonna pay. It's totally free. Subscribe, share the content, and you can go and follow me on all social media platforms at Shitlobo. Bye, and see you on the next video. Bye.